Hey everyone, this is Karen Waksman, founder of Retail MBA, and I'm so excited to have Perry Belcher on the call. Hi, Perry.
Hey, hon, how are you doing?
I'm so good. I'm so happy to see your face. You're so wonderful. Perry is someone I know for years, just because involved in a lot of internet marketing events and so forth. And I love traffic and conversion, which is one of the events that I've been going to for the last probably 7 years or so. And Perry's always there because you were one of the founders essentially of that. Is that correct?
Yeah, Ryan and I founded that together way before Roland, and we've had it now for, if we do it this year, it'll be 13 years.
Is it really that long? That's incredible.
Yeah.
So this is an event it's basically the top internet marketing event on the planet,
Yeah.
I would say.
Yeah.
And it's wonderful. If you ever want to learn internet marketing strategies, definitely want to go to this event. Now, Perry's funny because there's this little booth, and it's for an area called War Room. War Room is their high level kind of mastermind group. And so the last several years, they kind of cage this area off to all the ballers, all the like top successful people. And Perry's kind of running that area. So he's like drinking, hanging out in this little, they make it all fancy, and they're looking for like the top level, CEOs and stuff of companies. And so anyways, I always run into Perry, and he's always happy in his element and always playing and always talking to top dogs. And so anyways, we became friends over the years just by his happy, smiley face. And just he's incredible in internet marketing. So Perry, tell us what your background is. I mean, obviously we know that you're
Sure.
so awesome that you started this amazing company, but what else have you done? Why do people want to hear you?
I really started out as a retailer. I started out as a brick and mortar retailer. I did that for the first 8 or 9 years of my career. I was in the jewelry business, ladies handbag business. Oddly enough, I sold stuff to women, and now I don't sell anything to women, which is crazy. I sell to men. But that's what I did for about 8 years. And then I went in the manufacturing business, which, as you know, I love, right? I love
products.
I love manufacturing. I love physical products.
Yes.
And started, really early in e-com a year after Bezos started Amazon. So we've made exactly the same amount of money, he and I. Not really. I'm joking.
Yeah,
not even a little bit close. Actually, Jeff Bezos physically called me to buy craftstore.com from me in 1998.
Nice name drop.
I think. And his stock was that around that time, Wall Street Journal's article was Amazon.bomb. It was just, he was losing like $1 billion, like $400 million a quarter or something like that. And he wanted to buy my company with stock. And I kind of sort of laughed at him.
Really?
And
That's awesome. Good story.
And I think the last time I thought about that, that stock purchase today would be worth about $175 million. Had I done that. So, awesome. Yeah. So I didn't do that. You know that because I'm here talking to you. So I did that. So I was a manufacturer. Then I manufactured to sell online, and then eventually I went in the information business with Ryan Dice and Digital Marketer, and we sold tons and tons and tons of people trainings on how to sell online. And now full circle, I sold 4 companies in the last 24 months. We sold part of the traffic conversion event to Blackstone, and I sold one of my publishing companies to a big financial company up in Baltimore. And I even sold my interest in Digital Marketer out to Ryan and Roland now. So I'm not a principal there anymore. I still own part of TNC, and now I'm full circle back to, guess what? Manufacturing and product again. And now I'm learning Amazon like the last guy to the game, right? But as a manufacturer and with pretty good marketing chops. So we'll see how it goes. You can laugh at me when I screw it up because I
rock out. This guy is incredible. I mean, don't you're spending like $500,000 a month on it. You're like insane. You're being so I don't know what the word, but he's incredible. He's probably one of the top copywriters in the world.
We spend about $500,000 a month on Facebook and
I mean, he do incredible things. He's like, right now he has one of his businesses, I think, is survivalist, right? So it's like,
we do survivalist. We own the American Gun Association, and
I'm not a fan of
and DIYprojects.com and all sorts of stuff like that. So we're kind of a directional. If we were a retailer, we'd be a department store more than a specialty retailer. So we've got product in our warehouse. It's funny. You go in a warehouse and it's like, there'll be these big surplus military gas masks next to a pallet of nail polish. It's like the weirdest shit you've ever seen. You know, it's crazy.
I just really appreciate him because he does so much. I mean, if you hang out with him, he has so many stories. And anyways, so I just wanted you guys to understand that he's done everything. I mean, in terms of products and information, and he just really, in our world, he's really known as a top copywriter. And what that really means is someone who has the ability to create like some sort of ability for the customer to be interested in purchasing things. He's just really good at writing things out in a way that you want to buy things from him. Now, I am not a survivalist. A survivalist is essentially a person who, you know,
last 5 minutes.
I have to talk
like me. I'm not one either. You know, I'm not one either.
I was at an event and he was teaching a class to all the top internet marketers, and he was talking about his survivalist business, and he was sharing a story about how he was selling some knife or some horrible thing, you know, whatever it was that he was selling. And he was reading the copy of what he created for them to buy. And I apologize if it's offending anyone who is in that space. I don't totally resonate with it. It's okay. We're all different. But the essence is he wrote it so eloquently that even me was like, wow, maybe I do have a problem. Maybe I do need to go buy these things. Like, it was so good that even he got me thinking. I was laughing the whole way home after that event. I'm like, this guy's incredible with his wordsmithing and so forth. So anyways, just saying, Perry, you're great. So that's why I asked you to come here today. I wanted to talk about how do people get other people to buy things online, with what words they use, how do they articulate it in such a way that they get more customers, they get more interest and so forth. And that's just your forte. So I wanted to kind of talk about some of the reasons people buy, you know, what your perspective on it is, and then we'll just flow in a conversation about different examples. You know, maybe we can pick a few product categories and just throw out concepts of what you would do and stuff like that in regards to getting people interested in purchasing.
Yeah, I'm happy to do it. They're, you know, being a copywriter, I'm a pretty good copywriter, right? And by the way I got to be a pretty good copywriter, I think I've written about 1,100 long form advertising promotions in my life. And these are 3,500 word, 4,000 word promotions, you know? So, you know, most people aren't going to just jump out and go do that tomorrow. Right. So, when I'm meeting with new people or people that I work with, I always talk to them about, you know, a couple of concepts that are, that they don't have to be that great of a writer. In fact, being a great writer is almost a detriment to being a good copywriter, because you worry about grammar and form and Chicago style and all that crap, you know, that I don't know. I'm a high school dropout, right? So I barely, you know, I can't. My mother used to say I couldn't spell shit with a mouthful. So I'm terrible with I'm terrible with grammar. I'm terrible with. And if you read my sales letters, I used to get them all the time in the mail from little old ladies that would mark them up and say, "I can't believe your company is so unprofessional that you don't have a comma here and you don't have a thing." And the funny part was, I know that lady read my sales letter 10 times to mark it up and probably bought my stuff, right? You know, but there are really four big concepts that I've been talking a lot about lately when you're going to craft an offer. So if you're selling a product, whether you're selling on the internet, you're selling on Shopify, Amazon. I know you have a lot of physical product sellers. I sell a lot of digital product, but I also sell a lot of physical product. And I find that the people who sell physical product don't tend to sell digital product. The people who sell digital product don't tend to sell physical product. And the truth is, when you meld the two together, it's really good, because you have
by digital, just so some people might not know what you're talking
digital
about.
product being like a course or a training or an ebook or anything that teaches somebody more. You know, like if you're selling gourmet kitchen aids, right? You probably have somebody really interested in cooking, so they may very well be willing to take a 10-day chef course or whatever if you have that for sale, and it'll help you to sell more gear. The course will help you sell more gear. The gear will help you sell more courses, and the courses give you a lot of margin because they're digitally delivered. They don't have any physical costs, right? So I see a lot of that, but really no matter what you're selling, the number one concept is and this is what most people miss. You've got to find the gold in whatever it is you're selling. And by gold, I use gold mining as an analogy. But if you want to make all the money from gold mining you could make, except being a gold miner, you would help people find the gold. You'd sell them a map to the gold. You'd sell them a shovel to dig up the gold with. And if they wanted, you could be their personal guide to go help you find the gold, so you didn't make a lot of mistakes. That to me is the perfect business if you can meld all those together. But for now, I'll talk about just the gold. And what I mean by the gold is you've got to figure out the real reason people want to buy your thing, right? And there aren't that many real reasons why. And generally speaking, every purchase is a status upgrade or a downgrade, right? Most people are buying something to eliminate a problem in their life. They call it eliminating pain or moving toward pleasure, right? One or the other. And if you can do both, even the better. But most people really miss the fact that they're going to sell this amazing silicone spatula that's double wide with a fat handle, and it never breaks the yellow when you flip the egg. Nobody wants a spatula. They want a perfect egg, right? So if I were writing copy about a spatula, and I'm just pulling this out of my butt right now, but if I were writing copy about a spatula, I wouldn't say much about a spatula. I'd talk about how to make a perfect egg, and I would show train wrecks of gross looking eggs that people made that were because they had some old funky metal spatula and they broke the yolk of the egg and it looked like crap, and they weren't able to make a great egg. If you got this amazing double wide silicone spatula, you can make the perfect egg. The point is, there's a big difference in those two statements of like selling the widget, right, and selling the benefit of the widget. A good example is the steel belted radial tires. This car has steel belted radial tires. Nobody gives a shit. They care that they can stop, or they care that they won't skid when it's raining outside or it's icy or snowy. I think a lot of people, when they write copy, give up the benefit. If you get a chance to watch, you can go on YouTube and watch them. Watch Billy Mays commercials, right? Billy was an absolute genius at stating the problem. He would state the benefit first. He called it the hero shot. And whatever it was he was selling, he would say, Billy Mays here for the amazing blue blocker sunglasses, the fastest, easiest way to drive in rain, snow, sleet, or hail. And then he would show the problem. Have you ever bought cheap sunglasses and the sun hits your face and you can't see where you're going and you're just going to ski into a tree? This all happened. He'll make it almost ridiculous, the current way of doing things. And then he would make them an offer, and it would be that simple. But he was incredibly successful because he clearly identified the benefit of the product and demonstrated how the old way was not as good as the new way. And that's the gold. A lot of people sell, like even information sellers, they sell courses. I call them maps to nowhere. They sell a course on a product, on how to do a process, but they don't explain to the customer the benefit of the process. What are they going to get when they complete the process? A lot of people sell a product without clearly showing the benefit of the product, right? You can also sell additional products, upsell, cross-sell products that add speed and automation to whatever that desired end result was. So let's say, for instance, let's go back to I don't know where the hell I came up with a spatula, but let's go back to the magic spatula that makes the perfect egg every time, right? Well, if somebody buys that and they want to make the perfect egg every time, you could probably sell them a bacon press next, especially if they're Jewish. You eat a lot of bacon, right?
All the time.
Because if you want to make the perfect egg, well, wouldn't it be great to have the perfect bacon to go along with it that's flat and nice and crisp on every edge and not a problem? And then you can sell them maybe whatever else that might go along with making the perfect breakfast, right? Their desired end result, if you found one little piece of it, right, that entry point, right, then I call it a tripwire, a lot, useful but incomplete. If you're selling one part of the process, so many people will sell a spatula, and when it sells, they'll go try to sell 10 more kinds of spatulas. The thing is to sell the best spatula and then sell all the other things that they need. You're not in the spatula business, you're in the people who like to cook business, right? Make the product line that you create centric to the customer, not to the product, right? And you'll usually always do better. But stating that goal, what it is, right? Creating an opportunity, showing people, and I can't stress the goal enough. So many people just miss the whole reason why a person is buying the thing they're buying. And I call it peeling the onion. You need to find the emotional reason people want to buy a thing. Like I need a meat thermometer right now, right? And it sounds silly, but there's an emotional reason I need one. I make these big southern pork shoulders. I have a meat smoker outside. And I make these big southern pork shoulders. And I just made one a few weeks ago, and I couldn't find my meat thermometer, and I kind of guessed at it. And I had a bunch of people over, and when my pork shoulder came out, it was too dry, and it sucked. And I would tell them how great all my food was, and this sucked because I didn't have a $12 meat thermometer. So I'm buying a new meat thermometer because I don't want to be embarrassed again. It has nothing to do with wanting a meat thermometer or even the real function of the meat thermometer. You got to think about why people are buying at an emotional level. And believe it or not, even with something as dumb as a meat thermometer, there's an emotional reason why. And when you get into apparel and jewelry and things like that, you notice that personalized stuff or stuff with slogans or sayings work well. That's because people want to be identified as a certain thing. They want to be sorted into and easily categorized. We love to be categorized, and we love to categorize others, right? People buy things that remind themselves and tell others who they are. And you really should write that down if you're in the gift business or the novelty business. People buy things to remind themselves and to tell others who they are. So that's a second reason. There's a number of reasons for gold, but those are the big ones. The big ones are, what is the big benefit that's going to make my life easier, right? What's going to get me out of pain, or what's going to get me toward a pleasurable goal, right? Those are the three biggies, right? And then, you need to package your thing up as an opportunity. People wonder why new products do better than old products and why there's a churn. And why hasn't somebody just made a spatula and everybody buys that spatula because it's the best one? The reason why is because the brain is always looking for something new. It's lazy, right? It doesn't want to process unnecessary information. So if the brain sees something that it thinks it already knows what it is, or thinks it already knows what it's about, or, oh yeah, I had one of those and it was all right, no big deal, right? The brain passes by that. But when it sees a spatula shaped like, the state of Texas, and supposedly that does a better job, or it's got two flaps on it instead of one flap, the brain's automatically curious and drawn to it, right? And if you can show why that benefit is there, if it's new and unique and there's a specialized benefit for it, right? This is all part of copywriting, right? Imagery is part of copywriting, right? Then you just have to stick to, showing them why the new thing is way better than the old way. And tons of people will buy it if the price justifies the benefit, right? If you want to sell $1,000 spatula, you probably have a tough time, right? The price has to justify the benefit. The price has nothing to do with the intrinsic value of the thing, right? So many people go, well, I paid $1 for the spatula, so a 3X markup's $3. That's what I'm going to sell it for. You might be able to sell it for $20 or $30, depending on how cool it is, how different it is. There's an amazing, I'll have to find the site for you. Again, there's an amazing website where this guy did this experiment. he bought 100 items on eBay for an average of $3 an item. And he sent each item to a journalist, and he had them write a totally fictional story about the item to kind of give the item life, right? And then they relisted the same items with the same photos back on eBay. And the average sale price was $32. Some stuff sold for as much as $100. Same item, different copy. So the value of learning to write decent copy can be exponential to your success, much more than people believe that it is. It's something called objects. Oh gosh, I'll have to think of what it's called in a second. I'll dig it up and send it to you. But it's an amazing site, and you're going to read them all, and some of them are kind of crazy, right? But really, all you need to do to get somebody to buy something is show them the benefit, show them that it's new, show them that it's an opportunity, right? And show them proof that it's going to be, make them feel safe about about buying from you. Maybe it's safe because they trust you. Maybe it's safe because it's not that much money and they don't feel like they're that at risk. But people don't, those are some of the reasons people do buy, mostly is just to improve their lives, to make themselves feel better, to be happier, right? The reasons people, the bigger thing is the reason people don't buy. The number one biggest reason people don't buy things, courses, products, physical goods, whatever, is a fear of disappointment.
Interesting.
It has nothing to do with the object itself, usually the price. They're only going to take certain risks on certain things. There's some bands in there. But the number one reason, if you really think about it, why psychologically you don't buy something, you see something you want, and you want it, right? We have three brains in our head. This little brain back here, this little brain back here is called the reptilian brain. The brain here's the mammalian brain, and this is the prefrontal cortex, right? In a humans the only ones that really have this part. The mammalian brain, all mammals have. That's what's mammalian brain. The reptilian brain, reptiles have. And all mammals have a reptilian brain. All humans have a reptilian brain. But that little reptilian brain wants what it wants, right? When you walk in the bar and see somebody attractive and you want to have sex with that person, that little brain wants that sex, right? But this brain up here has memory.
When did
I'm sure that happens to you all the time.
Yeah, you had to throw in that.
So this brain here stores memories like a hard drive, right? And it recalls previous events, right? And social order and things like that. And then this little brain up here, the mammalian brain in the front, just says no. That's its job. It says, that guy might be nice looking. He might be fun, but the last time you dated a pretty boy, he broke your heart, right? So it just reminds you of those things, and it helps you to say no. It helps you to control. But this little brain back here, given enough time, this brain will go to sleep, right? With hypnosis, this brain goes to sleep. With alcohol, this brain goes to sleep. With drugs, this brain goes to sleep. So when you really, really, really want to get laid, what do? You go at the bar and you get hammered, and then you sleep with a guy and you go, oh man, I shouldn't have done that, but I was really drunk, right? So you got an excuse for doing it. So
right, Barry, let's tone it down.
Not that you've ever done it, but with words. But the point is this: when you're selling something to somebody, you have to create the same kind of temporary suspension of belief. So how do you do it? You do it with words, right? And the thing is, it takes time to suspend someone's belief, to slow them down. If you're going to sell a $10 item on TV, you can do it in a 30-second commercial. A $100 item takes a 30-minute infomercial. A $500 item takes an hour-long infomercial. Interesting. People have to be, and it's no different than dating, right? I won't talk about sex anymore, but I will talk about dating. There's a process to dating. So you go to a coffee shop and you see somebody that's attractive, and you meet them and say, hi, you want to have coffee? Sure. Then maybe later you do a lunch, then maybe you do a dinner, and maybe you do something else. And over time, as your confidence and trust builds and your attractiveness builds toward that person, then you take that relationship to different levels, right? But it doesn't typically happen in the first 5 minutes. That's this little human brain right here. Dogs don't have that. Mammals don't have that. So if a mammal sees another attractive mammal and decides to mate, they just mate. They don't have this decision making, this no signal here, right? They don't have it. It doesn't exist. But we do. So you got to put that to sleep for a little while to allow people to do whatever it is they wanted to do back here in this little reptilian brain that's about the size of a walnut. And it makes almost all your decisions. So when you see a new pair of shoes, I know you're kind of a shoe nut, right? Are you a shoe nut?
Not really, but I'm something, Yeah,
you got it. Everybody's got something.
Yeah,
so you see it. A lot of ladies are into shoes.
Right.
So you walk by and you see a pair of shoes. Oh my God, those are the most beautiful shoes, and I really, really, really want them. But then you start going through the negative justification. Yeah, I know, but I got rent due, and I got a car payment, and my husband's going to kill me. And if I buy one more damn pair of shoes, I won't be able to fit in my closet. And I think I got a shoe problem. I think that. You start telling yourself all these stories, and you may walk on by without buying the shoes, right? Even though you really wanted them. But if you walk in the store and the lady at Dolce & Gabbana gives you a glass of champagne and says, oh, well, let's try on 22 more pairs. And she gets you in there and you spend time, she knows she's got you. You'll get caught up in it and all that resistance starts fading away, right? The way we do that with copy is by making the promise and then telling a story. The story doesn't even have to have anything to do with the promise or the item. You're just keeping their attention while their guard goes down, right? It is just like dating. If I meet, if not me particularly, because really who do this, but if a guy meets a girl in the bar or a girl meets a guy in a bar, the longer that they can hold their attention and keep them entertained and keep them engaged, the more and more and more every single minute their trust meter is going up. But you have to be careful because that person is also judging you in that time.